Okay, if you guys can, as you come in, let me know if you can hear me. Uh, if my headset is connected. That would be most helpful. I'm going to give a few minutes for people to come in and then I'm going to share the books on my desk. Um, I'm trying to think what order I'm going to do this in. I'll probably do the two bookcases, then the books on my desk, and then I'll end with what's behind me on the shelves behind me whenever I'm on a video. People usually probably can't see the books behind me, or it's not really mostly books, it's mostly things that are not books behind me. But um, since it's share a shelf, I don't technically have to share just books on the shelf. It could be whatever I have on the shelf. If you haven't seen the note that I just shared about going live, I apologize if you hear my dogs in the background. They are going crazy with every sound that they hear. It could be snow falling off the roof. It could be a leaf falling to the ground. It can't be a leaf because we're in the middle of winter, so there are no leaves. But you get my drift. If there's a leaf that falls outside, they are so sensitive to the sound. They hear it and they freak out. And my wife is currently spending the next couple of hours with our son, picking him up from school, taking him to his doctor's appointment. So she won't be home till at least another 90 minutes. So I don't think this is going to take 90 minutes, but I figured she's gone. Okay, I've got the dogs. Okay, they might be a little crazy, but hopefully I'll be able to manage and share two bookcases because I just got a text actually from UPS informing me that the two bookcases that my wife so wonderfully bought for me are arriving tomorrow. And one of the first things she said was, put those two bookcases together and unpack some boxes that are in your office. So I won't show you guys because it's an absolute mess, although you might see it when I move the camera over to the bookcases. Um, my office is brand new. It was just constructed literally like not even 6 months ago. And unfortunately, I did what I didn't want to do and what I promised myself I wouldn't do, which was I brought some boxes of books into my office, and it's become an eyesore for me for so many reasons. Like I wanted to only bring book boxes in here the moment I was going to unpack them, so that the office would one, so I would have the space and the floor space to build the bookcases. That quickly did not happen. So my hope is when I get these two new bookcases, all of the book boxes that are currently in my office that are not unboxed, which it's about I think 15 or 20, I could get rid of those, and then unfortunately, she wants me to bring more boxes that are in the other part of the basement into my office to kind of do that kind of rotation because she's trying. We want to finish the rest of the basement. We only finished uh, 1/4 of it so that I could have my office, which now I have. But now she's got all these ideas for what we could do with the rest of it, but we can't do anything until my book boxes are gone. Anyway, to make a long story short, I'm excited for these two bookcases to come tomorrow. And I'm sitting here and I was looking at the mess that is my bookcases. And part of me wanted to wait to show you guys what's on these bookcases because they're not well organized. This is not how I would usually have my books. It's just I did a really terrible, terrible job the last like 2 to 3 times that I moved, where I did not label the boxes properly. And my wife yelled at me with each move that we did when I moved from the Bronx to California to be with my wife. And we were living in the valley when we moved from Sepulveda to West Hollywood and had to pack it all up again. I didn't label them, and then when we drove cross country from West Hollywood to upstate New York, again I didn't label them properly. And then when we moved again from central New York to the Capital District of New York, I also didn't label it. Like there were all of those moves that happened, and my books got packed and unpacked and repacked and unpacked every single one of those times, and each time I did less labeling. Like I did immaculate labeling the first time, but then every single time I had to pack, like, it within 7 years to have moved that many times. I couldn't. I was like, I can't label properly anymore. I'm done. So yeah. So anyway, let's begin because I've been yammering enough for one day. All right, so I'm going to move this without showing you my desk because my desk is a mess. Ignore my Swedish fish. All right, so I'm trying to ignore my messy office. Let's start with the top left. So I'm going to show two bookcases today and then another two bookcases tomorrow. And let me know if you can't hear me at any point that I'm doing this. Okay, so I am a Nintendo child. I was 3 years old when I got the NES, and I still play Nintendo to this day. So these are, I think you could say these are basically all the Switch games that I have. And then as you can see, I've got some 3DS, I've got my um, DS Lite, and then I've got, I think this is a 3DS something or other. I've got the Analog Pocket. I've got just, this is just the box. The Pocket is the Pocket in here? It is in here. Okay, so I've got the white one. I like to keep the boxes of things, which drives my wife crazy, which is one of the reasons why she wanted me to have my own office. Because, like, you can see tucked back here, I've got the box for my Power Beats. Like, I throw no box. I don't know why I like to display the boxes. Okay, leave me alone. Um, My brother got me this Kodak, which I've never actually used or taken a picture of. I just wanted it to display it because I think it looks so cool. When you take a picture, it comes out the side almost like a Polaroid picture does. Like I said, I've never actually taken a picture with it. This is just a big deck of cards. You will see how many decks of cards I actually have in a little bit. My Nintendo Switch thing here. These are the books that I used to have published that you could purchase on Amazon. You can't anymore. These are just the proof copies that I've kept. Um, they're going to be re-released with new covers and new everything. I was just testing like what the hardcover would look like from Amazon. So this is the hardcover. This is the soft cover for the first book, the proof copy for the second book, and this is the right now, this is actually what's releasing every 2 days a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. Spire and the Dragonwood Affair, the serial. It's only 12 chapters, I think, and a prologue. So within the next month, that'll be out. You'll recognize this has moved because it used to be. I'll show this to you very quickly, but I finally cleared this off, and now all of my mystery DVDs are here. And then it gets weird because then I have Maud and a couple of other shows next to it. But I found my wire for my DVD player. So guess who can watch DVDs in her office? This girl right here. Okay, so I'm collecting these right now. They're not all out, but I love collecting the Harry Potter books. I can't wait till I unbox all of them because then I can be accurate with my count, but I have 5 or 6 different sets of the Harry Potter books, two of which I'm currently collecting because they haven't all been out yet. So this is one of them. The other one is the illustrated one, um, which is it's the whole thing is illustrated. It's like a really big, like coffee table sized book. I don't have any of those unboxed yet. I don't know where they are. I'm gonna find them. Um, but yeah, so collecting those, you'll see like one full box set in a second that I have. Okay, so I love these, the Dorothy Must Die series. Here's a bunch of, I love young adult books, so a couple of these are young adult. Um, and this guy, I love him. He's on YouTube. He came out with this book, Ali Abdal. He's a productivity guru, if you will. Love Tom Hanks. He wrote a bunch of short stories here. Had to get it. I love Reggie. He was the
head honcho of the Nintendo America, and he's from the Bronx, which is where I'm from. I'm from the Bronx. This is the book that I had to get because I was teaching myself how to do card magic. Yes, I do know a couple of card tricks. Don't ask me to show you. Okay, so moving on. Amy Stewart is actually on Substack, which when she joined Substack, I probably geeked out more than anybody. And I'm just like so mind blown that she is on Substack. Love her series. They're all so good, so fascinating. If you want to read about, and this is a real person that she's writing about, who becomes a police officer with her sister, and it's a brilliant series. Then we move on to, as you can see, I am subscribed to the Ellery Queen Mystery Magazine as well as the. Let me show you. I've got a dog licking me as I'm trying to do this. So say hello to Rocky. She's driving me nuts. Okay, so I've got the Ellery Queen and Alfred Hitchcock I subscribe. So every time I get, there's the newest ones are these right here, which are January, February. I read them, etc. I love Taskmaster. I don't know if you guys watch Taskmaster. It's hilarious. My wife and I are so invested in Taskmaster. We actually watch the UK version, we watch the New Zealand version, we watch the Australian version, we watch all the versions. Okay. I also subscribe, or I used to, but I don't anymore. The fantasy and science fiction. These are old issues. I'm slowly but surely collecting all of the Wizard of Oz books. Don't ask me why the first one isn't here because now I'm like, where the heck is the first one? I don't know. Okay, moving on. Okay, so this is how crazy I packed because if I packed properly, the first editions of all of the Harry Potter books should have been unpacked together. But as you can see, for some reason, I only had one, two, and five, and I don't have three, four, or six or seven. So what box they ended up in, I don't know. But this is just how frantic, okay, the last time I packed because eventually they will get unpacked. And to show you and to prove that these are first editions, let me just show you this. Okay, I don't know why the second book is more yellowing than the first one. But yeah, these are like when they first were published, at least in the US. Um, the fifth book does not have a jacket, and I'm keeping it that way because I lent this book to my grandmother when she was alive. And my grandmother takes the jacket, or used to would always take the jacket off of her hardcover books when she would read them in order to not damage the jacket. She did that when I lent her this book. Unfortunately, I did not get this book back until after she passed away and my grandfather passed away, and they were packing up all the things, and the jacket was permanently missing forever. I have thought about getting this again so I could have the jacket, but it reminds me that I lent this book to my grandmother and she read it. Um, yeah, so that's the reason why it's got no jacket. It is a first edition as well. This one is probably the first one where I actually went to a midnight party for Harry Potter. I did go to the midnight release parties for, I believe, five, six, and seven. Um, so yeah, I think I might have been in college when I did five, and then back home when I did six and seven. I am collecting these. This is the Ravenclaw editions of all of the Harry Potter books. I only have the first one, unfortunately, but since I'm from the house of, I'm a Ravenclaw, so that's why I have that. My wife got me this one. My wife got me this. I bought myself this one. The Ichabod was the book that she released during the pandemic, and then she released it for free, and then they did the book and they released it, so I had to buy the book. I loved it. Here's the soft cover US edition of the box set that I was able to find. Like I said, I've got about six or seven other like complete in a box sets. Hopefully they'll get unpacked someday. So here now is the bottom of this one bookcase are the Stephen King books that I have. I'm going to go out on a limb and say these are all of the Stephen King books that I have. Um, but I can't say for sure. But I'm I'm like 98% sure that and then there's this one over here because it didn't fit on the shelf. These are all the ones that I have, but again, I might have more. They just have not been unpacked yet. Okay, so now we're gonna stand up. Ooh, and I'm gonna do the next bookcase. I love Christopher Moore, and I've got a small story to say about this book in particular. After I finished reading Harry Potter, the seventh book, I found myself unable to find any other book that I could possibly read that could come close to the brilliance that was that series. And so I remember, I think I went on Google, I forget where I went, but I was like, what in the hell do I read now? Because nothing is going to compare to what I just read. And the suggestion was read something funny. And I was like, okay. And I got this book, and there was another book that I got, which is going to be with my autobiographies. And so when I unpack that, I'll mention what the other book is. I won't mention it now. I'm just going to talk about Lamb. Lamb was the one book that was fiction that I read, laughed my butt off. I mean, if you're okay with the comedy of religion, then you will love this book. I'll read what the whole title is, but it's the Gospel according to Biff, Christ's childhood pal. So it's basically the story of Christ as a child into his teen years and how he's friends with Biff and Mary Magdalene. It's really hilarious, and so I love this so much. I did what any self-respecting person who just loves to buy books will do, and I just continue to buy all of his books. And I will say that all of these that are soft cover are all signed by him. Um, and I think a few of these might also be signed by him. This was back during a time when I went to book signings like daily. Like I was in like a club where we would, go to book signings for each other. If there were book signings happening at the same time, when I lived in New York City, there would be book signings at every bookstore with every person you could possibly think of. So I remember when I had all of these already, and I took them all, and I think um, it was probably when Fool came out that I took all of these, and he signed all of them. So yeah, just hilarious, hilarious, hilarious. And then I've got these two over here just because of the titles. I have not read them, but I just love the titles of The Girl Who Could Move Shit with Her Mind and Random Shit Flying Through the Air. No idea what they're about. I, again, bought them for the titles. Okay, now we're going back to my YA. You can tell just how all over the place this is. It's because I haven't really unpacked everything to know how I want to organize these things. But when I unpack stuff that are all together, I try to keep them together on the shelf. So these are all of my Michael Scott, um, the Immortal Nicholas Flamel books and series, which I love because there was a time where I was just reading all YA. For some reason, I've got this Hilary Mantel collection of short stories next to it, which is The Assassination of Margaret Thatcher. Then I've got the Josiah Bancroft books right here. He's one of those who self-published the first book. It blew up, and then Orbit swooped in like they do, and they signed him, and then they published the other ones. He's got another series that's either out right now or is going to be coming out that I'm going to also get and put on this shelf with him. Next to it, I've got some classics because you need some classics. And I went out and I purchased all of the Jane Austen classics, the Barnes and Noble classics. I love when I go to Barnes and Noble, I'll go to this section and I'll just buy all the things and be like, oh, you know what? I don't have this person. I'm just going to buy them all. And then I have Shakespeare's Sonnets and Poems. Why do I have this book? And why do I have it twice? You may be asking yourself. Because I actually have another copy somewhere. either boxed or unboxed. And I have no idea. It's rare for me to buy a book twice, especially when it's on accident. And this was on accident, or you could say that. So again, during the pandemic, a man that you may know by the name of Sir Patrick Stewart would go on his, I think it was Twitter at the time, and he was reading a sonnet a day. And I looked up which book he was reading his sonnets from. It was this one. And I immediately was trying to find it. And so the reason why I ended up with two is because the first one I ordered was from Folger. Like I went to the Folger dot whatever website and I ordered the book. And then when I ordered it, it said it would take like 2 weeks. And I am a very impatient person. So I went elsewhere to find it, which said it would deliver it faster. Unfortunately, I was unable to cancel Folger from sending their copy, so I ended up with two. And so, yeah, there's the long, boring story about that one. I've got, I don't know why, but I have David Copperfield's History of Magic, probably because I was still on my kick about being a card magician. Okay, and then I've got Mark Crilly's book, Brody's Ghost. He also is on YouTube. Love him. And I watch his videos all the time. He's an illustrator, but he does a lot of great videos that have to do with being a writer in general. So I just love watching his videos, and I will go back and watch them over and over and over again. R.L. Stein's Fear Street. I never actually read Fear Street, but this was the collection of the first, I think, three books in one. So I got them. Um, on writing horror. So these books, one, two, three, and four, used to be on my desk. I finally got them off my desk and put them over here, which is not the best place. I want them closer to me because I do pull them out for reference. They are written by the Horror Writers Association. This is by the members of the Detection Club. And then these two are by Martin Edwards, who currently, I think, is the head of uh, the Detection Club president or whatever you want to call it. These two used to be on the shelf under my TV, and like I said, I was able to move things around, so they're here now. Okay, now we are up to Ransom Riggs. Love him, and he's got his um, Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children series, and I've got them all here. Similar to um, Christopher Moore. I believe some of these are signed, probably even personalized. These two are the graphic novel versions. They haven't all been turned into a graphic novel yet, but the second that they are, I make sure to buy them. I don't know if the other ones will. Here's the like other books that came out in the Miss Peregrine series, such as the Museum of Wonders and Tales of the Peculiar. This is his new series that's out right now called Leopold Berry. I just got that in the mail. This one is cool. It's got the black there to make it's supposed to look like an old VHS uh, thing. So that's pretty cool. Um, I subscribe to Friction, and the main reason I subscribe to them, uh, um, not just because they're like an awesome organization that are doing great things for literacy, um, but because I want to do an anthology that looks like this one day. And I just think it's just the right size, the right everything. And so for inspiration, I subscribe to them just to have it. And every time it comes in the mail, I'm reminded like this is a goal I want to aspire to someday. Hocus Pocus, the first one and the sequel, they are books. And then these were on, again, under the TV. I just threw them over here because I had space. All right, now we're going down to the last shelf. Okay, so Rachel Kane, she unfortunately passed away sometime last year. It was, I couldn't believe it when I read about it. It was so tragic. But I have all of her books, and this was a part of me buying books that are about books because I'm a collector. Yes, I do read these sometimes, but a lot of the times I'm purchasing books because I like the way they look. or I want to support that person, and I just want it on my shelf. And so I've got, I don't think these are all the books in the series. I think I'm missing one. I can't remember if there was five or six in this series. I'll have to look it up and make sure I've got them. But these are by Rachel Kane, the Great Library series. Next to it, I've got like, love this. It's so these books are so tight in here. I couldn't take them out even if I wanted to. Like they are tight. I almost feel, yeah, I want to do a TIFF anthology, um, for sure, but I can't talk about that right now. That's for another time. So when I bought this, I have to make a confession. I had no idea that the Wizard of Oz series had more than one book. Um, I hope I'm not the only one, the only moron in the world probably who had no idea, but I had no idea. And then I bought this because I was like, wait, there was more than one. Um, have never taken them out. I don't know what they look like in there. I don't know if it's the illustrated versions. Have no idea. And the main reason is one, it's so pretty. I don't want to mess them up. So I don't even know what the cover looks like, which is probably a terrible thing. But the other reason is because they're really stuck in there. Like guys, I cannot emphasize enough of just how stuck these books are in this box. Like it's bulging here because it's just so tight. I don't know how they got these books in here, but it I feel like I would need to break the box to get them out, and I'm not willing to do that. So I will never know what the covers look like for these books, but wow, it just looks so pretty on my shelf. You know what I mean? It just looks so pretty. Um, and then I've got these, and this was one of those where I was in the bookstore and I saw the title and it just fascinated me. Um, and I had to buy them. They are like they're not young adult, they're younger than young adult, so they're um almost for children, if you will. Like whatever the age is for like what do you call it? Matilda, like that age is what these books would be for. And I bought them all again because when I see something and I see that they have more than one book, I just buy the lot and that's that. Okay, so now I'm going to show you the books that are on my desk currently and the shelves that are behind me. So let's move over here. I showed you this bookcase already. Okay, let's start with the books on my desk. Ignore my medications. Okay. So when I have this and I talk to you guys, I actually put my phone on here so that it's a good height and I'm able to talk to you. And so I put them on the books that happen to be on my desk. And so I figured why not show them to you. So one of them is the quotable Poirot Little Gray Cells. I have this version of The Wizard of Oz. Every time I see a version of The Wizard of Oz, that's a different publication, a different printing of it, and it looks cool, I immediately pick it up. And this was like $5. Um, but I like this. And then I found out that there's a whole slew of like, I don't know, 50 books or whatever, classics that are done in this way. So guess who's going to start collecting those? Yeah, me. Uh, I also picked up this one at the same time when I picked up the other one. And then this is a book from Quirk. I love Quirk. Like, guys, seriously, Quirk Publishing is one of the best publishing places that I know of. They're just really awesome. They actually did the Star Wars um, meets William Shakespeare books. I don't know if you guys are aware of that. When I unbox those, I'll be so happy. I don't have those unboxed there somewhere, but I have all those books. But anyway, so here's Taylor Swift by the book. Um, I've got this one used to be under the my TV, but now I moved it over here because I really need to read this. I bought myself a 5-year journal, and so I have been using it. I have been writing in it. I'm trying to write in it every day. So yeah, it's really cool. I'm not really making it that public or known that I'm doing this. This is really just for me, less so for me to try to like share this part of whatever I'm doing. Um, okay, I've got this person here who is also on Substack. Austin Kleon. He's got the Show Your Work. My wife bought me this book. I also have this book, but I have the 10-year anniversary hardcover packed away somewhere. So, so when she bought me this for Christmas, I was like, "Oh shoot, that's so awesome!" Because I cannot find the book that I have. That's the hardcover version somewhere. I also have this. Oh no, you know what? I have Steal Like an Artist, the hardcover version. Um, but anyway, packed. When I unpack them, I'll be so happy. And then I just recently got Keep Going because this is the only one I didn't have. So I have all of them now that he wrote. And then this book is so awesome because I was finding out about this just in the last couple of years. And I want to do something with this and take it beyond just me reading it, almost do like a sort of book club or something with this because I love this idea that we don't do anymore, which is oral reading. Way back, just a brief summary on what this is. Okay, the social life of books long time ago. I mean, you see how these people are dressed. Books were not printed as much as they were now, and when they were very expensive. So they didn't print many, like they weren't printing thousands of copies of books, hundreds of maybe dozens of copies of books, right? So way back during the time of William Shakespeare and everything else, the norm would be that people would gather at their homes and one person would read the story out loud. They would just that was a thing. It would be like having a dinner party except you were all gathering to hear a story read. And so this book, I found this book which is basically about that, which is this is what like, you know, doing what I'm doing right now is what people did back then. You would come over to someone's house and they would, make tea and crumpets, whatever the case may be. They would gather around the fire and they would read the stories. And this is how life was long time ago. And it was mostly because everyone wasn't going to be able to buy that one book. There wasn't enough copies of it. People couldn't afford to buy it. So you went to that one person's house who had that book and you heard it read out loud. And so I'm reading this, which is textbook sort of, history book sort of. It's so fascinating. And I want to really share this with you guys because I want to bring this style of reading in public back, and I want to do it using Substack Live because I think like that would be a great like way to show how we've advanced with technology that we can go back to these days, the social life of books, but just do it in this way with going live and reading our work, someone else's work, etc. So I really want to go the distance. So this is one that I keep on my desk all the time. So now I'm gonna spin around in my chair and I'm gonna start at the top. So this is a bookshelf that I just have behind me with a bunch of random stuff. Uh, Me with my son a while ago, long time ago, several years ago actually. Ticket stubs back when I used to go to the movie theater. My wife got me this box and I just threw all my ticket stubs, Broadway ticket stubs in there. Thomas Jefferson, my favorite president ever. This was something my mom owned, a pop figurine for Santa Claus. I collect nutcrackers, and I currently haven't figured out a way to display all the nutcrackers that I currently have, but I collect nutcrackers. I won't show you what's next to the nutcracker. Not necessary. Okay, so here's a deck of Hogwarts playing cards that I have, and I own two wands. So here's one here. I believe this is Snape's wand, if I'm not mistaken. The black wand, I believe, is back here. Um, Here's the Agatha Christie Death on the Cards. Here's the Agatha Christie deck of cards. So this is just a card game, and this is an actual deck of cards. And then I have her trivia here. Now I'm going to show you a lot of tarot. Like I collect tarot decks, so be prepared because this isn't even all of them that I've unboxed. These are just the ones that I've been receiving in the mail since I moved in to this new house. So we've got Life is Like a Board Game Tarot. These are so cool. They look like oh, what's the game with the boardwalk and Monopoly. They look like Monopoly cards. Um, oh, here's you can see the back of them. So they look a little bit like Monopoly cards. Um, yeah, this was a Kickstarter. All of these I'm gonna say were Kickstarters. If they weren't, I'll let you know. But these were definitely a Kickstarter. Creatures of the Night. Right here, I love this deck. It's the Rhythm and Soul Tarot. I recently used the Major Arcana to write 100 word stories with these. And here are the books that came with like all the decks I'm showing you. Here's a tarot deck that looks like a coffin. The cards actually look like a coffin. This is my first um, uh, deck of tarot that my mom owned. I now own them. They're not in a box or anything. They're just loose. They're the classic style. This is a Kickstarter Journey to Oz and Wonderland. I also did these 100 word stories as inspiration. I have the Baroque tarot. At some point, I'm going to use these for inspiration. The cards are really cool. Um, I have the Golden Girls Tarot. This was not a Kickstarter. I just saw this on like Amazon or something and I purchased them right away. It's hilarious. Um, the Tarot Emblemata Tarot deck. I've got the Y Spell Tarot. This was not also not a Kickstarter. I just bought these. I think when I was at Barnes and Noble, like they were just there on the shelf and I just picked them up. They look cool. Okay, moving down to the next shelf. The Devil's Magic is a deck of playing cards that goes with the Rhythm and Soul. But these are mostly playing cards. These boxes back here, one, two, and three, are all from the same Alleyway Tarot deck. Everything up here are all decks of cards that are just really unique. Um, hold on, I'm gonna have a seat here so I can show you guys my unique decks of cards. So let's start with this one, which is the Dead Man's Hand deck of cards. This is, I actually got this from the Library of Congress when I went to Thomas Jefferson's library. So that's this deck, $4 for this deck of cards many years ago. Um, these are Black Lion cards. These are actually, the reason why I got these is these are good for throwing. When you want to throw a card and like slice something, these are good for that. Yes, I was practicing doing that, okay? And they're being held up by just a black and red normal deck of cards of bicycle. These are um, decks of cards that look like the way they would have looked when they printed them back in 1815. So um, they have the same feel and design and look. They're really almost cheap in a way, but that's how they would have made them back then. So I have two, one that I opened and then one that will just remain sealed. I got this. This went with the book that I showed you guys earlier on the bookshelf. It's the deck of the original, the expert at the card table deck of cards. This is the deck that I use to practice my card magic. Whenever I'm practicing, I use this deck. Um, Pride Knights is an LGBTQ company that does decks of cards and other things, not just decks of cards. But I got these two. One of them is a rainbow deck, and the other one is a white deck. This is also a white deck, like it's all white, like everything. Like you see, okay, there's the reflection. The only way you can see what the card is to reflect it, which is pretty cool. Like they're all printed like this. And then the other one that's even cooler is this one, which is a clear deck. It's from the same company. So in order for you to see what the card is, like the box is clear and all the cards are clear, um, which I love. And then I've got these, which are also throwing cards. So they actually say throwing cards on them. So the purpose of them is to use to throw them, and they will like, you could throw them in an apple and they'll like stay stuck. Like you could, I wanted to learn how to throw cards for battle for a series that I was writing a while ago. Okay, so moving down to the next shelf. These books I actually just got within the last couple of weeks. The Twilight Zone. I wanted to get the Rod Serling stories. So I bought all three books just because They were not that expensive. I've had these for a while. I love the Twilight Zone. I actually um last year in January I did Twilight Zone episodes for my 100 Word Stories. This year I decided to do the Honeymooners because those are the two TV shows that I watch for New Year's, regardless. I'm always watching either Honeymooners, Twilight Zone, or some combination of both. I'm collecting the Buffy books, so the series didn't finish at season 7. What they did was they just moved it to this comic book uh, version. So I'm slowly, they're really expensive. I have like four of them, and I'm also collecting the Angel books as well. They're just not unboxed, but these two miraculously got unboxed. I've got Dolly Parton's Song Teller book, which is awesome if you want to know about her life through her music. It's just a really amazing book. You may recognize these. The fifth book was going to go right on top here pretty soon in the next couple of months. I'm hoping to have the fifth 100 right here, and then I'll have all five. Um, moving steadily along, I've got this. My brother got me for Christmas. It's Agatha Christie's Writer's Journal. Don't ask me what I'm gonna write in it. It's just I just wanted it because again, it just looks so cool. I don't know if I'll ever actually use it. Um, these also because they look so cool. The iOS app icon book and the macOS app icon book, as you can tell, they're not opened. I've had them for a while now. I don't know if I'm ever gonna open these books. I just wanted them because they look really cool. The Game Console 2.0, I flip through this every now and then just to remind me about innovation and how things can evolve for the better. Especially when I'm thinking about top and fiction, you would be surprised. This book actually came in handy for me just to know every time I want to make and do something different with top and fiction that it's okay to either uh, succeed and or fail, but always to move forward and to innovate. And so I love the Game Console 2.0. That's what you wouldn't think that's what that book would be for or would be used for, but for me, that's what I use it for. Zelda, love Zelda, so I have the unopened two guidebooks and I have the encyclopedia of Zelda down here. I don't have the guidebooks open because I don't really need them. I just wanted to have them. So I have Breath of the Wild, and I think this one is the newest one, Tears of the Kingdom, I think. Okay. Now, the bottom here is a little bit of a mismatch of things that I just throw down here because I don't have any space for it, such as the Myrtle board game is down here. A lot of the magazines, like Writer's Digest, when I get them and I read them, I throw them back here. Um, my box for my, what do you call it? The box for my first Apple Pencil is here, and then the box for the Apple Pencil Pro, and then this is the box for my iPad Pro. But then I just brought these in here and I don't know where the heck I'm gonna put them. But I have um, the card technique and then the expert at the card table again by S.W. Erdnase. This is for uh, me to be able to do my card magic. But I also have like all these decks of cards. Like I just I don't know why I have so many decks of cards, but I have like so this deck isn't even I don't even think it's complete, but I have just a like I don't know why I have state by state. I've got Washington D.C. I've got New York Giants. I've got presidents of the United States. Like I've just got so many decks of cards here that it's just crazy. Okay, so I'm gonna flip around. Okay, so those are all the things. Like I said, I've got two more shelves, two more bookcases um, to share with you guys, and I'll do that on Friday. They're the two that are on my right. So I showed you the three now that are on my left, and now I have two on my right that I will show you on Friday in a couple days. And then I'm hoping next week at some point to show you the two new bookcases and what books are on those shelves. Because when I do those, I'm going to have to figure out where I'm going to put them and what I need to move around to make space for them. Because I initially measured to have 15 bookcases in my office. Like my office is big enough to put 15 bookcases here, but there has since been some additions that might take space away from having 15, so I might have to cut down to 10 bookcases. In which case, I currently have 7 out of the 10 that I need, but we'll see. Anyway, in the meantime, thank you all for being here. I hope I wasn't on here for too long. I didn't want this to go for on forever. But those are the books on those shelves. I'll have more things to share and show in a couple days. Thank you, um, Rita and Herschel and DW and all the people who were here to watch me ramble on about the books on my many, many shelves. And yeah, so I will post this for you guys to watch on demand later for anyone who wasn't here the way I did for the first one. So until next time, I want you all to, on my desk, I have this. This is where I keep all of my Switch games. I don't actually keep them in the boxes. I just keep the boxes because they look good. Anyway, so till next time when Erica returns to share a shelf. Bye.